I'm a kid without a high school education, but I had a mother who raised 6 kids by herself as a domestic. We used to hop on that bus on Mississippi Avenue and ride all the way up to Wisconsin Avenue, then get on another bus and ride further up Wisconsin Avenue to Bethesda, and we got on another bus. But she raised 6 kids, and she raised 6 kids all by herself. I'm not embarrassed to say that I was on public assistance. I'm not embarrassed to say that I had welfare or anything of that nature. But at the age of 17, I joined the Metropolitan Police Department. I was one of the first police cadets. And I used to direct traffic in front of Ian, Pennsylvania. And for those of you who've been there all your life, you know that before they put Freedom Plaza in, there were streets that went across there. And Walter Washington used to come out every day and talk to me while I was directing traffic. He's the mayor, you stop in traffic, you talk to him, and he said, you know, there's no finer calling than public service. He's absolutely right. In the last 31 years, I've been lucky enough to be in the cabinet of Mayor Adrian Beatty. I've been director of Greater Southeast Hospital during the period of time when they went through all of the influx. The good part about that is that we kept Greater Southeast Hospital and United Medical Center, or as they call it now, the not-for-profit hospital. That was one of the better things that we did. I also ran the taxi cab commission. I'm also the president of Naylor Gardens. And what I like about Naylor Gardens is right now we're getting ready to do a $240 million renovation of Naylor Gardens. But the best thing about Naylor Gardens is that we have a lot of senior citizens. And what we do over there in Naylor Gardens is that we facilitate their needs. We have doctors that come there, we feed them. But the good part about it is we have people 95 years old still living on their own money. And those are some of the types of programs that I like to emulate across the city.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. So I'm somewhere 3 on the ballot. And I'll talk more about what my vision is as we get further into this. But like I said, my name is Lino, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you. We're going to go to Michael Brown.
Thank you. Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank Phil Fennell. Give Phil Fennell a hand for the wonderful work he does right here in the city. And Denise, thank you very much for having me. First, for those who have supported me 4 years ago, I want to thank you very much for your support 4 years ago. Obviously, I'd like to get your support again in November. I happen to be number 4 on the ballot. Now, what you'll hear in these kind of forums is what people will do. Let me tell you what I have done related to our seniors and to the District of Columbia to try to make it a better place. First of all, we have, so everyone knows, we have about 1,100 new residents coming in our city every month, which is obviously putting a major strain on our affordable housing in our city, which is for seniors, our teachers, police officers, firefighters, and the like. One of the things that we're trying to do is I'm spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to make affordable housing really affordable. And that means redefining what affordable means. From our standpoint, affordable should mean workforce. If a teacher can afford it, that means it's affordable. If a police officer can afford it, that means affordable. So as new residents come in our city, I don't want to put walls up around our city. We need the new residents. Come one, come all. It's a great situation. But let's not kick out the folks that have been here a long time and make room for the new folks. We can have economic diversity and have both if we would like. So one of the things that we did related to our seniors, one of the first pieces of legislation that I got drafted and passed into law was to restore, there's something called the grandparent caregiver subsidy. What that is basically grandparents who are taking care of their grandchildren should be getting help and assistance from the government so they can do that. Well, those funds were depleted, and I actually restored those dollars so seniors could take care of their grandkids. In our foster care system, people, grandparents, and/or parents, and aunts and uncles of foster kids get services and resources from the government. But grandparents weren't able to get it for their own blood grandkids. So we changed that, and I got that money restored, so now grandparents will have resources to take care of their grandchildren. Also, as our seniors are trying to figure out what to do, there are a lot of issues related to reverse mortgages and the like. A lot of our seniors are getting tricked about how to sell their home. So we have a lot of new programs and services down at DCHA, our finance agency. The DC Finance Agency, which has a lot of these programs in educating our seniors on how not to get tricked related to their real property. That's your big asset. You should make sure you hold on to it. We have a lot of programs that we can direct you to that. So as you hear from folks about what they really need, I'd like you to look at my record and show you what I've actually done already and what I will continue to do if you elect me for another 4 years. So again, thank you very much for having me. I apologize for being late. I'm in 2 hearings right now. One is for homeless families that I just left, and then one is for a housing initiative that I'm trying to get passed. So I may have to leave early. I'll try to stay as long as I can, but thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
So we actually should have started with education, but, you know, the way that the folks are placed on the ballot, I think education ends up being at the end. But, so we're going to follow that. Yes.
No, just sorry, you may just want to inform the audience that they vote for 2 at-large city councilmen.
So Phil is correct. I may want to inform the audience that when you vote on November the 6th, you vote for 2 at-large councilmen. Okay? So you can broaden your choice after listening to our candidates. We're going to move now to candidate for the Ward 8 council seat.
Jahar Abraham.
So you have 3 minutes. Jahar.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me, I don't want to be so far away from you all to talk to you all. Good afternoon, my name is Jahar Abraham. We are here too. I'm sorry. I just wanted to. I want to address the AARP. My name is Jahar Abraham. Born and raised in Washington, D.C. I grew up at 3401 Bruce Place. When I was having difficulty in 1973 in D.C. public schools, I was probably one of the first young people that they decided to begin to experiment with drugs with. My grandmother stepped in and began to care for me because I was having a lot of problems going to the school I was attending. I was having issues, and they recommended that my mother and father put me on Ritalin. They disagreed with that, and my grandmother stepped in and began to care for me and take care of me. And essentially, I went on, after graduating high school, I went into the Army, 82nd Airborne. After doing my time serving the country, I came back to the community and began to work with young people in the public school system who essentially had kind of went through some of the same problems that I did. I want to thank Councilmember Brown for taking the information that me and some others in the community gave him about grandparents who raise children, because I was able to go to the council and explain to them that grandparents that were raising children were struggling raising their grandchildren. And so it's nice that Councilmember Brown would take the credit for that, but that was something that actually came from someone who experienced that. So I'm not going to talk about all the things that I will do and things that I've done. What I will say is that the seniors will have a friend in Abraham. The seniors will have a friend in Abraham, and what I will do is come and sit with you and talk with you and find out what your particular needs are, and I will make sure that I do everything possible to have a relationship with you, not just in come and talk at you, but to really come and sit down, fellowship with you, and make sure, because this is something that's near and dear to me, because last year when my grandmother transitioned at 83, I had the opportunity to take care of her later on in life as she did for me as I was growing up. So thank you again, my name is Jahar Abraham. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank AARP President for holding this forum to be more informed about what's going into what's happening with our city. Education might be last on the ballot, but it's first in everybody's speech. So let's get that clear. There's not a politician running out here that doesn't bring up the fact that education is a valuable tool. And we need to talk about education the way it should be talked about. I'm a former football coach at Anacostia High School for 25 years, worked under Coach Stewart, who was really my mentor and gave me that guidance to help me get to where I am today. We talk about why I'm running. I'm running because the children of this city are in danger. Not just because they open their charter schools, not because of truancy, not because of that. The killings on the street, day to day. Elderly parents such as yourself raising grandkids are sending them to school. one of the strong initiatives that I'm trying to work and I work with our council on is bringing back the neighborhood school. Because as grandparents, we know that we can't reinsert our child raising our own children and then we're raising our grandchildren. It is hard for you to live in Ward 8 and expect to be at a PTA meeting at Wilson. If West of the Park is going to be the great feature, then why not bring some of them features back to the west of the park, back over here in Ward 8 east to the river? One of the initiatives I also want to work on, Councilmember Chase passed an initiative called the Healthy Foods Act. But when you go down to Patterson Elementary School, 2 years ago, I put up the fact that they were eating rotten pears and they were feeding it to our kids. And the public school system refused to do anything about it. We're still running into that issue across the city where food that they talk about, food issues. Our kids are not getting it, what they say they're not getting at home. And the other part of that piece is, it's always the parents. They never reached out to find out what the issues are at home. They talk about parents being not there, can't find a parent, kids not being dressed well, not hair being combed. I was just at Blue yesterday, I saw 95 students standing outside the door at 9:30 waiting to get in the building. And the response I got from the DCPS, the Deputy Mayor of Education, they told me, oh, they were late, that they did get to school on time, but the first thing they hollered, truancy. And truancy starts at home. But truancy starts at the school system because they're just a part of that too. But on November the 6th, I want you to vote for me so that we can bring education back to where it used to be. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I know a couple of our candidates are going to have to leave real soon. I had a couple of questions, but I want to go straight to the floor. So I'll start with you, sir. You identify yourself and
I'm Reverend Oliver O.J. Johnson. Some people refer to me this morning as Reverend such and such, and that's good enough. My question is for all the candidates. It is my understanding that within 2 years, 1 out of every 5 residents in the District of Columbia will be over 60 years of age. I would like for you to supply in writing to our organization what your position is across the board on seniors. Because senior people want jobs and need jobs too. Senior people have held this city together. So my question is not a question because I don't want to hear what you got to say. I want you to write down your position across the board on housing, education, employment for seniors, people over 60, and supply it to the organization because I can read. Thank you.
all right, so I do hear a question in that, though. And
Well, ask me, Denise, I'm not that smart.
And mine is, if they are willing to do that, Phil, are you willing to accept those responses if they are successful in their
Well, we're in the Denise, we're in the 21st century, so we are on the informational highway. I assume that most, if not all, of the candidates do have websites, and that they would be able to post, be able to do those senior citizens on a website if they don't already have it. And if there's any member who does not have a computer or access to a computer, they're at the public library, they need to contact me, or better yet, contact the candidate. But I think that should do it, right? Would that be okay?
That'd be okay, because this is what we got today. This is nothing.
Just, can I make a recommendation that we agree to do this in a certain amount of time, though? I mean,
Sure.
I think it should be done before the election. I can
I'd like to do it this week.
That's something I can have that on my website by next Wednesday.
so you're asking every candidate to put something on your website. If it's not there already.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Powell, past A&T Commissioner, also been in this board for 35 years or more, and been an advocate for the community. My question is, Councilman Brown stated that we had 400 new residents coming in every month. 1,100? Okay, sorry. That's 1,100. I want to say to you all that as you have 1,100 coming into the city, you have almost the same amount being put in the street, okay? Or at least half being put in the street because they have gotten injured on the job. Now,